I was looking at everybody's posts, and everybody was at the beach and everybody was at the barbecue, and all their little girls had long flowing hair, and my little girl was skeletal and bald and dying in a bed in this gross city. And I remember, like, literally one of the, like, I've heard the voice of God. I have audibly heard the voice of God, I promise you, a handful of times, and this was one of the times, and I heard the words, "Look up." And I remember being like, what? And I look up and I hear it again, "Look up," like louder. And I hear God say to me, "Why are you looking at what you don't have and completely missing what you have?"
Welcome back to All Things Possible. Adam, my wife Bethany here, and we're so thankful that you're here to listen because we are here to encourage you in your walk. And we know a lot of you are feeling encouraged already, so thanks for leaving us a review and sharing this with your friends. It really is helpful for us. Today,
Yeah, and we want to ask you, can you please share any episodes with friends going through it so you can have more conversations beyond the All Things Possible and build up your community around you? We're looking for help to just get the word out on All Things Possible, and we know that, that's how I encourage a lot of my friends. I send them an episode that encourages me, and I know today's episode, honestly, it hit me to the core. Like, I needed another reminder. I needed to hear some of these truths that Kate is sharing with us. She is like the pep talk mama bear that we all need in our life. And I am overwhelmed with just gratitude for today's conversation. So we know you're going to be encouraged. So enjoy today's conversation with Kate Merrick. Welcome, Kate Merrick. We are so glad to have you here on All Things Possible. You have had such an impact in my life in my early motherhood years when I just realized how fast-paced our culture was and how there was so much lure to do all the things and to constantly fill our schedules. And I am that sort of person who would want to kind of do all the things, but
yeah, I'm kind of more of the balance. Like, even the boys are like, "Can we just stay home?" And he's like, "No, we're going to the beach. We need to go to the skate park." No, we would.
Yeah.
I think you naturally gravitate towards filling the schedule up more.
I
so.
think I naturally would gravitate towards doing endless things, but I have found value in not doing endless things. And I think you were such a big impact in my life, and reading one of your books in particular, Slow Down.
Here now.
Here now.
It's been a few years. So introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself, and what brings you joy, and what's something that you could do if you have nothing on the agenda. What are you going to paint your day to be like?
Ooh, okay. Well, hey, Bethany. Always good to see you, and you, Adam.
Thanks.
Super just a joy to be invited to hang out with you guys today because I don't get to see you nearly enough.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So to those listening, my name's Kate Merrick. I was a pastor's wife for 20-something years. We planted 9 churches. What else did we do? I wrote 2 books. We had a big, crazy life. And my husband retired from that 5 years ago. And now we ended up buying the family business. So we have another big, crazy life, which is so fun. We have a business called Channel Islands Surfboards. My husband makes surfboards, and I help out in our store a couple days a week. We have 3 kids. I have one son who's 24. I have a daughter in heaven, and she would be almost 21. And I have an 11-year-old daughter as well, who's a total spitfire and keeps me young. And okay, perfect day. Remind me, you said perfect day, like if I could just fill it with whatever I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm super into gardening right now. I ebb and flow where I'm like, all I want to do is garden. Like I'm out there. We just planted an avocado orchard and
Nice.
I am moving mulch like a boss. I am just like sweat pouring, like overalls, straw hat, the full nine. Like I just love it. So anything that has to do with like cooking, gardening, I love like fluffing my house. You know what I mean? Like I'll go to the thrift store and find something super cool and like restyle my living room. Like I call it playing house. So like if I have a Friday, Saturday, whatever, that I can do whatever I want, I'm gonna play house. But I'm also gonna sprinkle in some like physical fun. Obviously go surfing, hiking. Oh my gosh, I love to hike. I hike alone every week in Ojai. My daughter goes to school, this cute little Christian school in Ojai. So I'm out there hiking and like, I just feel like, you know how, oh gosh, what's his name? Eric, shoot, can't remember his last name at the Little, Eric Little. He said, when I run, I feel God's pleasure.
Hmm.
When I'm outside, I feel God's pleasure. And I feel so spoiled, honestly, to have the time and I don't know, energy and whatever to do these things, whether it's like baking bread from scratch, which I'm like that weirdo lady now. Like, it's been a few years, but like, I've got kombucha going, I've got my sourdough going, I've got sauerkraut going. Like, I've just got all the things. So I just love to play house. Like, weirdly,
That's
love to play
fun.
house.
Does your daughter join you? Does your daughter
Well,
join?
she does in certain things. Like a
Yeah.
lot of times she's like, yeah, no way, mom. I'm out. I'm so out on that. But you know, we'll go play mermaids or something for a little while and come.
Aw.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
love
I feel like you come from, California is a very fast-paced culture. I would say it's like up a few more notches than maybe Hawaii and other
Oh,
areas
quite
of
a few more.
America.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
way like I feel like insta stress when I like land in California. I'm like, this is chaos. I can't handle this.
Uh-huh.
What initially, I mean, like, there's a lot to your story, so I don't know where you would want to go back to, but you are really unique in that you made a drastic change to your life. You went from living your normal kind of American life to like slow down, here now, like stop all the things and simplify. What kind of pushed that desire in you, and what are you seeing in our culture currently? How this fast-paced culture is affecting families.
Mm. It's so multi-layered, honestly, because and I will talk about the catalyst to like our big change, basically. But the whole idea and ideology of the fast-paced culture is, like I said, it's very multi-layered because there's like desire. So Bethany, you're super driven. Like you don't just become Bethany Hamilton and have do all the things that you accomplish if you're not a really driven thing. And God put that in you, right? So like all have to like work with what we've got. And if we're someone we're like, well, hey, I'm a super driven person and I want to, win, I want to get to the top, I want to do these hard things. Like you have to hear that and run with that. But when it comes to rest and Sabbath there's a tipping point for everybody. And it's just a different level depending on your life, what's happening, your family. It's a personal thing. So one person cannot say, well, Bethany does A, B, and C, so I have to do A, B, and C. But when Bethany feels like in her soul, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm taking it too far, I've got to listen to the Lord and take a Sabbath, then that's when you go into that flow. So I'm just going to back up a little so I don't sound too cryptic. But when I was, gosh, in my 30s, when I was in my 30s, my son was 8.5 and my daughter was 5, and it was their first year of going to kindergarten. Or it's her first year of going to kindergarten. My son was in 3rd grade. It was like my first time since becoming a mom. like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have some freedom. This is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna do what I want. And Britt was pastoring, and so Monday is our day off. And we would always go surfing together on Mondays. Like that was when we could go together. And so we dropped the kids off, we loaded up the car, and we're kind of like loitering at our factory. For listeners, it's our Channel Islands factory. Bethany, you know this. And so we're kind of loitering there, and I get a phone call, and they said, your daughter, her name's Daisy, your daughter Daisy's fallen down, and she's hurting really bad, and you need to come and pick her up. And my first thought was like, no, that's interrupting my, like, I'm going surfing. She's
Yeah. Oh
fine. She
man.
found it fall down every day. I'm the mom that's like, I don't know, climb a tree. That's what they're
Yeah.
there for. They're there for climbing, you know. I'm a pretty, easygoing mom like that. And so it didn't really, I was kind of like bothered that they called. And so we drove out there. We didn't go surfing. We drove out there to get her, and she was vomiting from the pain. And it was like, my agenda was like this, and it was like, nope. Like what you're doing today is not the plan. So we took her to the hospital, and they ran tests all day, and by the end of the day, she had a cancer diagnosis. And I remember like nothing, when something like that happens, you think that only happens to other people. In fact, I remember with my friend when our kids were like pooping their pants, and toddlers are crazy, and you're like, oh, we'd say, well, at least my kid doesn't have cancer. We'd say stuff like that. Like that could never happen. That's only for those sad people over there. It's never going to happen to me. I'm going to go on with my life. I'm going to do all the things because I got stuff to do. And we came home with a cancer diagnosis. Well, we didn't come home actually for 11 days. And it just like, obviously, you get to this point where your life changes in a second. It was like full speed ahead going this way. My husband is an excellent Bible teacher, and he was preaching like 3 times a week at all these camps. We were running ragged. We had a college ministry going at this church, planted another church. We were planting other churches. Like we were doing the thing, like so much stuff all the time. And next thing you know, we're just like caring for our little girl who's like completely shattered. She had a huge tumor in her abdomen, the size of a Nerf football.
Wow.
And cancer treatment for what she had is initially about 9 months. And so we just like hunker down, we're going to do the thing. And after 9 months, it was like, okay, she's cancer free. And that lasted about 6 weeks. And that tumor came back, and it was 3.5 years of hospitals and just being, in that zone with her. And there's like a turning point for us. There was a catalyst, and it's funny because it took a few years. Obviously, our lives changed really fast. You go from like spinning your wheels, and these are all good and right and beautiful things. It's not like we were doing anything wrong or whatever. We were just doing a lot. And we decided that we were going to uproot our family. It was like, there's nothing else we can do for you. The doctors are like, that's it. We've tried everything we can do. There's nothing we can do.
Wow.
And we were like, all right, last ditch effort. We're going to uproot our family and move to Israel. We're going to go there for as long as it takes. And they're going to do experimental stuff. And we're like, hey, go for it. Try whatever you want. Like we want to save our baby's life. And we were down at UCLA at the hospital, and we were harvesting her stem cells so that they can do things with them at this clinic in Israel.
Right.
And I'd been there for a week already, waiting for like her blood counts to rise. And we're sitting in the hospital, and I hate hospitals, number one. I don't know anyone who loves them.
Yeah.
That would be weird. And then you're in the middle of a city. I can't stand cities. Like I live on a couple acres. Like I have to have green around me, and I'm feeling really sorry for myself. I'm looking out the window. It's just gray. And my daughter's in her bed, and she's watching cartoons or whatever. And I'm sitting in this like gross plastic chair looking out the window, and it's just the grossest view ever. And I've got my phone, and I've got Instagram open on my phone. And I was scrolling, and this was years ago. I mean, this is what, 14 years ago, where it wasn't what it is now. It was like, but still, I was looking at everybody's posts, and everybody was at the beach and everybody was at the barbecue and all their little girls had long flowing hair and my little girl was skeletal and bald and dying in a bed in this gross city. And I remember like literally one of the like I've heard the voice of God. I have audibly heard the voice of God, I promise you, a handful of times. And this was one of the times. And I heard the words, look up. And I remember being like, what? And I look up and I hear it again, look up, like louder. And I hear God say to me, why are you looking at what you don't have and completely missing what you have? This little girl is amazing. Like my daughter Daisy is like the raddest person ever. And God was like, who's with her right now? No one gets to be with her right now except for you. And you're missing it because you're looking at what you don't have and you're just growing bitter. This is a gift. This is a gift I gave to you. She's still here. And I remember being like, whoa, I was wasting that gift by looking at my phone. Like, what a way. I cannot think of a worse thing to do. And I set my phone down and I remember like climbing into bed with her and we're cuddling and watching cartoons and it just like changed something in me. And we were about to leave for an unknown period of time. And my husband Britt and I were talking like, how do we want this to look? Like, what should we do? And I'm like, you know what? I think we need to leave our phones at home. I think we need to get off social media, completely leave our phones at home and just go bare bones. And we'll just get some like burner phone there if we like get lost from each other, but just be completely disconnected. And we were like, we had a blog going. I was, letting people who were so sweet to praying, so kind to give and help us get there. And I was like, we'll let you know once a week. So once a week we emailed our families, but otherwise it was complete presence. No phones, no notifications, no nothing. It was just us. And it was such a gift from God. So that was like the huge sea change for us as far as like, whoa, why would you miss what you have and look at what you don't have? And I know that our situation was like extremely radical and we ended up spending 3 months there. And 6 weeks after we came home, Daisy went to heaven. And I have zero regrets. Absolutely zero regrets. And from there, I'm not a social media hater. I think there's good and beautiful things on there. But if you can't be healthy, which I can't and couldn't, I never went back on. Britt never went back on his social media. Neither of us ever did that. And we just found a new way. And I just realized, man, if I look away for 5 minutes, I lost that 5 minutes, and then like the days are precious and no one has their baby and thinks, oh, God's going to give me 8 years with this little girl. No one knows, if I knew that, like how much different, I really truly believe God doesn't tell us these things for a reason, but we need to move in and act in a way and live in such a way that if God took our loved ones from us, not that I believe he took it, but he allowed her to die from cancer. If like I want to love my people as well as I can. And that doesn't mean just my children and my husband. It's like my extended family, my close friends. And it just like, it shifted. It's like, okay, I know that God gives each of us like a sphere of influence, and Bethany, yours is far and wide and really beautiful and really powerful. But ultimately, and I know this about you, you're like, no way, man, I'm choosing my people. I'm choosing my babies. I'm choosing my husband. And when we don't do that, but not everyone's going to be a Bethany. Not everyone's going to plant 9 churches like we did. But man, if we're not good stewards of every minute of every day with our people, I don't know what we're doing. Like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, we could do all the things, but if we're not stewarding our people well and our hearts, and a huge part of that is Sabbath. Now, I'm just like talking and preaching a sermon.
No, we're like, I'm like soaking it all in, melting in my chair here.
it just, we know your story. We love your family, and it just hits in a completely different way. Just hearing, having our own children and our own family going through a similar experience about a year ago now, and it's really hard. And it's like you ask those standard questions like, why? Why does this happen to people, and you don't, like you said, like you don't expect it. You see, like that stuff happens to someone else. It wouldn't happen to anybody in our family, of course, but knowing that, I mean, John 16:33, we always preach this verse, like we know that trouble is going to happen. We don't know when, but something, we're going to face adversity. We're going to face difficulty that we don't even know. And some people don't, that's, the rain falls on the good and the bad. We don't know what the Lord divines for everybody, but we know that we do have faith in Christ, and he loves us, and he's going to get us through these times because he's already given us the most beautiful gift of his son Jesus for our salvation, for our goodness. And it's such a great reminder and such a beautiful reminder, a hard reminder for us to like look at our children and be like, this is such a beautiful gift. Like, why would I focus on something that is pulling me away, making me desire something that would never be achievable, or wanting to accomplish, like looking at all the things I could be doing, like, oh, that person's so successful, or this person is living such an awesome life, I wish I could do that, and like wanting that over like what is right here in front of us over at our grandma and grandpa's house, like enjoying. I mean, it's funny, like, Tom and Sherry, Bethany's parents, that we love them to death. And it's like, it's so funny because there's moments where you're like, oh, if we had a little more space, but at the same time, it's like, we want them in our guest cottage because we love them. We want to be around them. And like you said, steward that relationship. And we want our children to be around them as much as possible and soak that up. And I don't know, I just had all those, like, everything's just like, as you bring that up, it's such a powerful story, a powerful thing that we should consider. And I feel like people want to drown out that deep thinking, drown it out with doing all the things, going to all the sports practices, doing all the games and watching movies, filling your time with media rather than facing what is most important in life.
And it gets me thinking too of like, our society is more anxious, depressed, and like unhealthy than ever. And it's like, what is our time being filled with? And a lot of that is TV, stressful news, endless social media that's highly addictive, gaming, busyness, and there's a complete miss in connection, which is like the foundation of human life, and you could say happiness or meaning and purpose is to connect with one another and to have those meaningful relationships that are deeper than surface level. And so I'm sure you guys felt a pretty large shift being in Israel and leaving the phones home and like basically just focusing on your family. I've spent my whole life in the ocean, and I've learned, just like wearing a seatbelt or a helmet, safety matters. That's why my family and I use shark bands.
Shark Bands uses patented magnetic technology to deter sharks by disrupting their electroreception. Kind of like a bright light in their eyes that says, nope, not today, shark face. No batteries, no charging, just simple, effective peace of mind.
Whether we're surfing, swimming, or just splashing around, Shark Bands is our go-to for ocean safety.
You want to geek out on how it works? Dive into episode 14 for a deeper look at the tech.
And check the show notes for the link to Shark Bands because your peace of mind in the ocean is worth it. Stay safe, stay stoked, and keep loving the ocean. Can you explain how that felt and, what was it like leaving the phones behind for that season of life?
It was interesting because we like slid into it and really like easily, like it wasn't, there were no withdrawals. It was just, man, we're here. Like we were just so grateful to be together another day. Like, wow, you're here. I'm here. Oh my gosh. And so for the kids, like we packed puzzles and books and whatever. but and we've never been a big, TV watching family. Like, we don't have a TV. Literally, the last time I had like a TV was in 1992. Now I have a TV. Literally 1992. I was when I graduated from high school. I have a TV. We have some DVDs. Like, whatever. We're here and there. We get some entertainment, but it's never been our like in our family rhythm, which is great. And it would have been more of an adjustment, but it was so beautiful to get that time together. But the shocker was like, it was more our rhythm, like our daily rhythm. Like, my husband's not working, and my daughter's treatments were our daily rhythm. So we had somewhere to be every weekday and like spend a couple hours in the clinic every day. But other than that, it was just like free. And being in Israel, my husband has led several tours there. It was like, I think it was my 4th time and his 8th time. And like, we love the Holy Land so much. So we took our kids all around the Holy Land and just got ice cream and just sat there and watched people. And we brought a deck of cards with us, like, wherever we went. Like, we would sit at these cafes and like meet people and people watch and play cards. And we met so many different people, like, of so many, like, Hasidic Jews and Orthodox Jews and non-religious Jews and, some Arabs, and spent holidays. Like, we literally got to spend holidays with the people we met, like Rosh Hashanah, like Jewish New Year. And we were the people's guests for, I think it's called Ushpitzin. It's when they bring a guest when they do, Sukkot, the festival, the Feast of Tabernacles, and we got to like go outside in their thing, and it was just so beautiful. And we would have missed so much if we just knew ahead of time. We were like, you know what? We're going to be at the Wailing Wall one day with our daughter, and we don't want to be getting pings on our phone. We like, okay, the ultimate thing, let me just like narrow it down to like really our ideology for it. And I remember saying these words. I remember we were looking at each other and we were like, do we want to invite anyone else in on this trip that we're taking? No, we don't. And that's essentially what you're doing when you're bringing social media with you. You're, like, as someone who's posting, this is, you're allowing somebody in a certain level. Like, this is what I'm giving you, but we were like, we're not willing to give any of it. These could be her last few months. We don't know how this is going to go. And I am not willing to share her with anyone any longer. And when we got home, it was like we both stayed off. My husband didn't even have a phone for 3 more months, and all his friends were texting and calling me. And I'm like, bro, you have to get a phone. Like, I can't field your phone calls anymore. You have to get a phone.
I'm done being assistant.
Okay.
I have a funny question I need to ask you, and this is totally like off topic, but it's 2025, Kate Merrick. Who is the president?
Wait, hold on.
Do you know who the president is?
Do I know who the president is? It's 2025?
Yeah.
Wait, are you... Wait, is this... Am I
missing? Because I'm like, you don't have
You're so
TV, you don't have social
Do you
media.
know who the
I
president...
haven't been on TV since 1992. Like, that is boss, be present woman. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, does she even
It's
know
like
who the
mulching
president
the
is?
avocado orchard. Do you still have donkeys too?
No, but we used to.
Oh, no donkeys. Like,
I just got a bee box, like a beekeeper box. I've been wanting, but like when we bought the business and we put it in the store, we're like, we're so broke. I literally can't even buy a bee box. Listen how much Jesus loves me. I was driving down the street, free bee box on the side of the road. I
right
on. Load that thing right out. I've got a bee box in my orchard. I'm going to be a beekeeper. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
We were a beekeeper for a while, but we were so neglectful.
We were too busy.
There's so
Beekeeping.
many. The beetles came and
the beetles
they
are bad.
scared our hive away. So just be on it. I mean, you're probably more on it.
But that's what I'm saying.
us,
Like,
but...
beekeeping is perfect for you because it's such a very present activity, and it consistency, showing up, and you have to be like in the moment with those bees. That's what I learned. And like, I wasn't in the moment with those bees because we were like traveling, and it took and raising young children and all that stuff. So it's
impossible Animals are, and it's essentially it's keeping an animal.
Yeah.
Keeping animals is a lot of commitment, and we've
Hmm.
been through so many different kinds of animals. And I'm kind of like, bees. We'll see how the bees go.
Uh,
Um, Bethany, back to your, I don't want anyone to think that I'm like a guru in the
Yeah.
lotus position on top of a mountain. Like I'm not. But what I am is discerning. I do believe that. Like I want to say that because I do know who's president and I do keep up, but I curate what I hear. And I'm so careful. I tell my daughter all the time, be careful what you see, be careful what you look at. You can never unsee or unhear anything. And there's a lot of garbage in the world, whether
mm,
it's music or any kind of media, right? And I do keep up on the news to a point, and I know in my soul when I'm like, why am I reading this? Why am I reading about the terrible thing that happened in this city that's not even I can't take it. It's not for me. I was not created for this.
mm,
And there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm going to like, and we all know that fear sells. We all know that tragedy
Yeah.
sells. Everyone loves tragedy. And so it's not a lot of good news that you're reading. So I do like have a few news outlets where I'm like, okay, let me keep up on what in general is happening. But my favorite thing is like living my own life. And I say it all the time, like to my kids. My son, so he's 24 now, and he got his first phone when he was 15 and a half, and it was a flip phone. And he was literally the last kid, like on the planet, well, at least in our town, to get a phone. And then it was a flip phone. And, he would say, oh, mom, I want to play games, or I want to watch YouTube or whatever. And I would say, my love, you have your entire life to do that. And I would say, I'm giving you a gift. Your friends are watching other people live their lives, but you're actually living yours. And when he would just like fuss about not having the latest whatever that all his friends would have, I would I would get a little sassy. I'm gonna say it. I got a little sassy. Oh, I'm sorry. Which of your friends are going hunting with their grandpa for 2 weeks? Tell me which of your friends just went to Indonesia to serve the Lord. Oh, how many of your friends have their hunting license and are going to Idaho? Like, I would just show
yeah.
him, like, no, dude, like, you're living a beautiful, powerful life. You don't need to watch. You don't have time for that if you're watching everybody do theirs. So I don't hate like the socials. It's a lot like playing with fire. Like you have to be so careful or you get burned. And so I think that there's space for truth and beauty, and I think it's really important that people like you and so many other people are on there giving truth and beauty, because people will be on social media. And so I think that there's a really important place for that. And I think that the user needs to be aware. Be wise. Just be wise, and don't, if something makes you feel ill in your soul, like that's the Lord telling you. That's God speaking to you, and just to like understand how we're made. It's just that's not how we're made, is to watch everyone do all the things, watch everyone have all the things, have all the fun, or watch all the tragedy and the bad news. That's just not, it's not sustainable.
Your son is 24, his frontal lobe is pretty much developed. So has he reciprocated some gratitude for how you raised him without a smartphone?
Such a good question. And it really does have a lot to do with the frontal lobe. And
Yeah.
we talk about it all the time. He's like, Mom, it's almost developed.
No way.
um, he has specifically thanked me for spanking him. So
He's like, thanks for that. Showing.
we were hanging around with a kid who was a total pain, and he said, Mom, thank you so much for spanking me. Um, yeah, he has several times acknowledged, like, you gave me a beautiful life, thank you.
Hmm.
And now he's on his own. It's his choice, what he does with his screen time, and obviously it has been since he was an adult. I don't, I'm his mom, and I'm here to love him and give him the best start I can. So
Hmm.
I did want to say one thing about small children and new moms. And I want to acknowledge, back in my story when I was saying, oh, I was so excited for my kids to go to school so I could do my thing. The struggle is real. When you're a new mom and you went from being your own person to there's babies hanging off of you, they need your body, they need your time. You can't, I always say, you can't eat when you're hungry, you can't sleep when you're tired, and you can't even go to the bathroom when you need to because there might be a child on your lap or nursing while you're trying to, do your business. And Bethany, you know this. It can be like really hard not to be resentful as a mom. And I think this is one of the biggest areas that our young moms are being ripped off in our culture is they're busy watching these ridiculously stylized and fake things online about other people's lives and other people's parenting, and they're doing that. And I think distraction has always been an issue, right? Back in the day, it was soap operas. Like you heard about the like housewife who watched soap operas, and I think in the 50s and 60s, didn't they have like Mommy's Little Helper? I mean, they were literally taking drugs, like taking Valium to get through, the motherhood
Really?
and whatever.
Yeah.
And I started
I forgot about that, but I have heard
Oh,
that
you've
for
heard
a
it?
while. It was like marketed to moms.
Well, and now there's like the whole wine mom culture, which is
Right.
like, oh man, if I can just make it to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, rose all day, and they're all laughing. And I think that our culture makes light of, hey, it's not easy. This is a very noble profession to be a mother. Like we are raising
Hmm.
human beings. And I think that, and I know this is a big part of your message, Bethany, like you can do hard things, okay? We can do hard things. And the best thing that any human being can do is invest in another human being. If we don't invest, so now my 24-year-old literally treats me like a queen, you guys. He treats me like a queen. He is so sweet. He was living in Idaho. He just moved back to Carpinteria. He's going to manage our store, and he is the kindest young man. And I feel like I never wasted a second. Like all those days when there's poop up to your elbows and laundry up to your knees, and you're making the 99th peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you feel like you're doing nothing, you are doing something. And so I just want to give a shout out to the moms. Like, don't miss that. Not that like you can never have any kind of outlet or distraction or entertainment. You can. Be wise. Don't have it be a daily companion. I mean, I see moms everywhere just on their phones staring, or their kids are on phones, and let your kid look out the window. Let your kid look
Yeah.
at the grocery store. Take like no, you don't need this to survive. And I think it's just another form of drugs. I really do. I really think it's another form of drugs. But I want the moms to feel empowered, and like it doesn't, you don't have to be whatever you think this perfect mom is. Okay, some people are going to make kombucha and sourdough. I do. I love it. I think it's so fun. And some moms are never going to make a loaf of bread in their life. Doesn't mean they're
Yeah,
less
like
of a mom.
I'm gonna take them to the beach and we're all gonna go surf. Like that's like my drive. I'm like sourdough, no, we're going surfing. Like that's what like my
Yeah,
time invested. Like we're gonna go surf, skate park, do
yeah.
something outside, run hard adventure. And that's where I'm like, okay, we'll do a simple, easy but healthy dinner.
And I think moms are getting lied to. Like, well, I can't handle this. This is too much. This is hard. This isn't
Right.
fun. This is not about me. I want it to be about me. And I'm not her. I'm not her. They're always looking around at other moms and looking around at what it looks like it should be. And that's a ripoff. So I don't even know how I started on that, but I think we just need to like trust the Lord with our own lives. Just like live the one that God gave you. Make it as beautiful as you can. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Do your thing, and love your kids, and don't be distracted the whole time. Still miss your life. I mean, can you imagine? Like I always say, no one gets to the end of their life and says, "Oh, I wish I spent more time online."
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
No one.
nobody. And I just feel like, man, if you're a parent, if you're a wife or a husband, and you got hit by a bus today, I'm I mean, now that when you're faced with like people die, you realize like, oh, this could be my last day. Will I feel like I crushed it as well as I could? Like I took some rest, but I crushed it. And that's one more, can I just throw one more thing in?
Yeah.
And this is, yeah, I feel quite passionate about all these things. But it's Sabbath. Sabbath is so important. So, in the sense of, I'm not saying no one should ever take a break. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, if you're not constantly talking to your children, you know what? Your kids need alone time too. They need to go climb a tree. You can take your kids to a park and read a book. Like, that's fine. Like, kids meet other kids. You don't have to be the mom that's like constantly talking to, like, it's all part of it, right? But Sabbath and taking a break is biblical. It's literally one of the 10 commandments. I used to tell my kids, listen, you guys, there's going to be people that tell you a lot of things that you should do. There's only 10. There's only 10 things that you should do. And they're in the book of Exodus. And I'm like, hey, if it's not, people are going to put stuff, especially as pastors' kids, people are going to put stuff on you and tell you that you're going to have to act a certain way, be a certain way. But listen, God says there's 10 things. And guess what? Taking a break is in there. Sabbath is in there. And the heart behind Sabbath, and I truly believe this, the heart behind Sabbath is trusting God with your life. Because he says, don't work. That's it. Keep the Sabbath holy. Observe the Sabbath. Now, the men, the priests, they made 613 laws about the Sabbath. All right, well, you can only walk this far, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. Okay, well, that's man's laws. But God is like, listen, take a load off, okay? Take a load off. Even when the children of Israel are wandering through the desert, he's like, gather your manna every day, but on the 6th day, gather twice as much, because you're going to party on the 7th day. So God's not like, you can never take a break and you have to da-da-da-da-da. God is in the business of blessing. God knows our bodies need to relax, our brains need to relax and do something that's healthy. So I don't know. I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that I'm not trying to say you can never, have a brain.
Right.
Like, it doesn't mean you can't go on social media, but like maybe set a timer on your phone, 10 minutes. Okay. Like, you chillaxed, or like watch a movie, whatever. Just like, take a break, but be wise and be a grown-up about it.
What are we pursuing by looking at other people's lives, or what are we running from by, scrolling endlessly? On one hand, it is highly addictive, and I've felt that in my own life. But I'm also like, what's going on? What's deeper here? Like, what is the reason we are clicking and not looking at what we have right in front of us? I feel like you've probably put some time into thinking of the deeper rooted issues to everyone's, social media scroll or TV binge.
I mean, number one, I really think it's human nature. And number two, I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to ask the question, what is it? But I'm going to ask the question of who is behind this. Who is behind all this? Who is the enemy of our soul? Who told the first woman who ever lived, what? You can't have that? She had every fruit in the freaking Garden of Eden. Like, God made it with his own breath. And like, she had it all. She had it all except for this one thing. And he's like, you don't have that. Like, what? What is that? And she was so easily bamboozled. And so are we. We are not better than Eve.
Yep.
We're not better than Eve. And I truly believe that is a ploy of Satan to get us in a place where we're not stoked. Like, gratitude is one of the tenets of living in step with God.
Right.
Like,
The
seeing
Psalms.
what he's done for us and accepting it. And in accepting joy, accepting blessing, and Satan wants us to miss it. And I don't have it like on lockdown, like I have it, a lot of it, some pretty well on lockdown. But it's something that I think every human will struggle with because it's part of human nature. It's the enemy's plan is to be like, you don't have that, you don't have that, you don't have that. And I think it boils down to not just what we have or don't have, but like lifestyle or children. There's just always going to be something. And if Satan can get us missing out on what God has given us, oh my gosh, then he's got a foothold in our lives. And so I want to say, eat my shorts, Satan, not today. When you look at like who's behind it, that it's not like, oh, well, this is just the way life is. Like, I really think that like we really need to say like, not today. I'm not going to
Yeah.
play your game. I'm not part of that because God loves me and God wants to bless me. I just finished reading Job and like, yeah, God allowed Job to suffer. God allowed you to suffer, Bethany. God allowed me to suffer. And you know what? At the end of the day, he's like, here you go. I'm going to bless you now. Psalm 90, verse 15. This is the NIV. This is a prayer that we can pray. Are you ready for this? Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, for as many years as we have seen trouble. And when I read the book of Job, I'm like, hey, man, like you said, Adam, the rain falls on the wicked and the righteous alike. In this world, we're going to have trouble, right? Like, nothing's going to go perfect for anybody. That's just not realistic, and that's just not life. But man, don't we want everything God has for us? Don't I want to be, hey man, I had that beautiful daughter for 8.5 years, and I could just like turn a blind eye to all the blessings that God has given me since then. Or I can be like, Lord, thank you for those 8.5 years. Like, my heart is ripped in half, but I'm going to see her again, and I'm so excited. And in the meantime, between now and then, I want everything God has for me. Everything God has for me. And what I believe that is not is staring at a rectangle and missing out. You know, it's just not. Like, God gives us, isn't it like, even if you think of like, we have to eat 3 times a day, 2 to 5 times a day. We have to eat to sustain life. And God made it delicious. Like, what is that? Like, what a gift. What a fun blessing. Like, we get to like have fun eating, have fun staying alive. Like, God, if we move our bodies, we are healthy. God is saying, I want you to move your body. I want you to have fun. Like, that's a blessing. Like, if you just look at every day can be a radical blessing if we just like accept and receive and just have open hands.
Right.
And yeah, I just don't want anyone to get ripped off anymore. And I don't want to get ripped
Yeah,
off.
well, anyone listening, I'm like, if you don't hear this pep talk that we're giving y'all, like, this is the pep talk of all pep talks on why you need to either get off social media or majorly get it in check. It's like, I love
Totally.
that analogy of Eve in the garden. She has it all. She
Yeah.
has the best, most perfect life, and yet she still wants that fruit that she is told not to have. And Adam allows her to have that too. And it's this sin nature like that we have to be aware of, and who is behind social media and what is our purpose for being on there. I think like thinking back on what is our purpose with each and every move of each and every day. And so much of our purpose is right in front of us, to go live and create and to love and connect and celebrate all the good that God has placed right in front of us. And so, oh my gosh, I'm feeling super fired up. I'm like ready to go on back online. And we had bought a social media phone because I have my social media. I've typically had it on another device because I needed help and I couldn't keep it in check.
Yeah.
And then our new phone was like a lemon, so we're gonna go shopping after this episode and buy another social media phone because I like need this separation of
Create that.
space.
Yep.
It's worth
Put up the
it.
boundaries, put up the
And
fences. Create that
man,
space.
I needed this conversation, so I know that everyone else needed it too. So thank you so much, Kate. Any final questions, thoughts, words, hun?
Okay, such a blessing. You know, at first I thought for a split second when you said, who's behind all this? I thought you were going to say like Bill Gates or World Economic Forum. But then I was like, no, that's so wise. Yes, the enemy is trying to pull us away from the Lord's blessings. So thank you for that reminder. Yeah, stoked. I can't wait to come hang out with y'all again and go pick some avocados in your orchard.
Anything else you want to share? Can you give the lowdown on some of your books you've written? Because I think a lot of our listeners are going to be like, but wait, I want a little more. So what books have you written? And give us a little lowdown on more encouragement we can find from you.
Yeah, sure. I wrote a book called And Still She Laughs. Defiant joy in the depths of suffering. And I wrote that a few years after Daisy went to heaven. And it was kind of like my journey of like major bitterness with God and in life, getting to a place where I learned to have joy and kind of what that looked like. And really, God took me on a journey with all these biblical characters, or I mean, they're not characters, they're real life people that lived a long time ago. So that was my first book. And yeah, and then I wrote another one called Here Now. And that one is actually, if you read that one, listeners, there is more details on Israel. I write a lot about our trip to Israel and kind of different things that God showed me. And
I love the part in the book where you guys went to the nude beach with your children.
Oh no.
In Israel. I don't know if you guys knew it was the nude beach, but they're going to some new beach and they realize it's the nude beach and they have their children.
Oh my goodness.
That really stood out to me. So you got Here Now, check out Here Now and Still She Laughs. I probably need to read that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're so grateful for your heart, your encouragement, and we're cheering you on in motherhood and all the things that you do and just showing up for your people. And thanks so much for your encouragement. I think I needed to hear it, and I know a lot of our listeners will have needed this too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Love you guys.
Thank you, Kate. Aloha.
Aloha.
Wow, that was amazing. I really just felt like I could absorb all of what Kate was saying and really marinate on that for a while.
Yes.
Absolutely encouraging to hear that we need to recognize that the Lord wants to hold us near and the devil wants to pull us away. So if anything we can walk away with, focus on the truth of God's word. Focus on his blessings that he has for you in your life. And focus on that. Pray on that. And thank the Lord for what he has given you. Thanks for listening to All Things Possible. Please share. Leave us a review. Let us know what you're thinking. Aloha.